I was speaking at lunchtime, actually, about my teacher, Marjorie Barstow, who was born in Lincoln, Nebraska in 1899. And I first met her when she was 96. And my first conversation ever with Marge really was, we were having lunch. She arrived from the airport from Lincoln, Nebraska in Sydney, Australia. And the next day we were having lunch. And then suddenly she said, well, what am I doing sitting around? I thought you people brought me here to work. And I said, but Marge, you only just arrived. You've got to, rest a little bit before you start teaching. And she said, well, why do I have to rest? All I did was sit in a seat and sleep for 20 hours. And I said, but Marge, there's a jet lag. People suffer from jet lag. And she kind of looked at me and she said, I don't know what jet lag looks like. She wasn't having any of those labels, So finally, I didn't know this. You never won an argument with Marge. But I didn't know that, and I kept going on. And I said, but Marge, you can't say there's no jet lag. I mean, they've done studies, there's science showing that people suffer from this condition. And that's when I really got who she was. Because suddenly she went all serious. She had these blue eyes, and those blue eyes just looked right through me. And she just said, I don't get tired because I decide not to. I thought, oh, okay. That was Marge. And so as a teacher, she was quite a revolutionary, because up until Marge, Alexander was always taught the way Alexander taught it, of course, which was just you got in and out of a chair. He never even did table work. Other teachers started to do table work, because Alexander used to say, if you can't get the change that you want with your hands in the upright, then put them down on the table. And maybe you can that way. But when Marge started to teach, I think I mentioned this in the morning, she said, yes, but, I think people will learn better if they're doing something they like. And so she started to invite people. She said, if you're an instrumentalist, play your instrument. If you're a dancer, dance. If you're a singer, sing. If you have trouble vacuuming and you get a sore back, let's see what you're doing vacuuming. In other words, she just started to invite people to come up with the idea, like you said, sitting, and part of her teaching pedagogy was that basically, unless you came up with something, you wouldn't get a lesson with her. She wasn't really prescriptive. She would be prescriptive once you gave her something, and she would really help you understand it and give you ideas. But she wouldn't really, the only time she ever did anything with everybody would she would do walking. So everyone would have a little walk around, and that would be the way that she'd get her hands on everyone. And she always wanted to get her hands on everyone. I remember one time after workshop, she came up to me. I think we had about 50 people in the workshop. She said, I got my hands on every one of them. She was so proud. So anyway, one of the things that I wanted to just start today with, and then I'm going to invite you for what you want to do for your activity. Please have something in mind, because if we don't have anything, we just take an early mark, go Starbucks or whatever, is something that's not spoken about much, even though I think it's an important concept in Buddhism, and it's also an important concept in Alexander, is that one insight alone doesn't really give you the whole thing. Just having one piece of it doesn't really give you the whole thing. So I know that from the Lam Rim, they have the I think 13 meditations or 24, I don't know, different places have different ways of counting them. But let's just say 13. So you've got these 13 meditations, and they're meant to go in succession. So one, you're supposed to, and each one is filling in the gap the other one doesn't do. So for example, Precious Human Rebirth is supposed to inspire you and make you want to practice, whereas the death meditation is making you realize that you don't have a whole lot of time. And so on and so on. So you go, and also the guru, the beginning one, the guru, what's it called? Guru devotion. Yeah, that's right. Guru devotion, which is right in the very beginning. So those are meant to be done, all together, one after the other. And, every time you do a circle, when you come back to the original one suddenly has a deeper meaning now, because of having done the other 12. And the same thing, and you just keep going around. And as Lama Tsongkhapa called it, it's the graduated path to enlightenment. It's like these are the steps. There's a whole manual about it. I mean, there's a 3-book manual. You study the manual, get enlightened. Apparently, hasn't worked for me yet, but well, it's very interesting because in Alexander work you find exactly the same concept. Is that if you just think of this joint, it may get some benefit. If you think of this joint, okay, I'm going to think of this joint, and then, okay, I've thought of that joint, now I'm going to think here. Okay, now I've thought of that now, of the cow joint, now I'm going to think about my arms. Okay, now I've thought about my arms, okay, I'm going to think about coming forward in the hips. It's like you do one, then do the other one, it doesn't work. So it's like the way you have to think is I'm starting with my head, and then I'm expanding to include my arms, and now I'm thinking of coming forward on the hips, and I'm continuing to walk while I do it. So you get this practicing this consciousness, which is one altogether, one after the other, altogether, one after the other. So I don't think you're kind of not really a gamey group, are you, really? I was thinking of doing a game, but you don't really look like a group. Yeah. Well, if you want to, we'll just do a tiny bit. Everyone stand up. You can just stay where you are. It's not a big deal. Yeah, just stand up. Just stand up. Okay. So, and just turn so we can see each other. All right. Yeah. So say we'll start over here. So I just want you to make one movement with one part of your body, just one simple movement, whatever it is. Just one movement. Oh, just doing that. Is it? Okay, good. Okay, so everybody just do that a little bit. Okay. Just doing that. Okay. Now do another one, but the same time as this one. Okay, forward. Okay, so everyone, now we're doing the arms side and forward at the same time. Okay, now do another one. Okay, so we're going this and this and up. Okay, and now do another one. All right, but this one has to keep going like this. You have to keep doing this, so you have to find another part of the body that isn't being used. The knees? Yes, okay, so now you've got this hand's doing this hand's going up, this is going forward, and that's going there. So there we are. Now add another one. Oh, okay, the head's going down. Right, can you start to notice you're getting a bit discombobulated? It gets harder. Yeah, that's the game. I don't know if the online people tried it. We sit down again, yeah. According to the scientists, they used to think we could manage something like 5 or I think 7 to 8 used to be the figure they quoted, but they've since revised that. And they've said, really, most human beings can manage 3 things. That's about it. You can push the envelope and go to 4, even 5. For instance, people who juggle, they are really pushing the envelope because they have so many things they have to kind of keep jumping to keep it going. So really, that's one of the reasons I said 3 joints today, because I thought, okay, you got this one. Well, we think of cow and top joint as one because it's one area. Then you've got your arms, and then you've got your legs. So we've covered the whole body, right? We've got this part involved. We've got all the arms involved. We've got now because when you think about the hip joint, it's really the whole upper body you're thinking about. You're not thinking about the legs so much. You're thinking the whole upper body has this very slight tilt, leads into the walking. So when you're practicing this, you're asking me, how do we practice? You must remember that all together, one after the other. So you don't go around just thinking top joint, head to head. Even though I did this in the workshop, ultimately, you think top joint and cow, arms going forward to the hip, top joint, cow, arms going forward in the hip. You just start to think of them all together. So come on, have a little walk and just see what happens if you practice that. So top joint, cow, and even if you can't even sure of the movement, don't worry. Your system already knows those movements because you spent the whole morning thinking about them. So all you have to do is top joint, cow, arms at the front, under the neck, forward at the hips. Top joint, cow, arms, 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 hips. And you just kind of keep that consciousness going as you walk. Yeah, that actually looks quite Now, anyone want another little walk? Yeah, they'll do another little quickie turns. So again, we've got top jaw, top joint, cow, and the flamenco is the whole rib. I'll just show you the flamenco. The flamenco is this whole rib cage, just very delicately going. And as you think of the forward, you remember the hip joint, and you go just a little forward on the hip joint. There we go, this way. Okay, come back up here. Yeah, sometimes it takes a few seconds for it to turn on. There we go. Now it's turning on. There you go. There you go. And as that happens, this begins to go this way. That's it. Good. You feel it? Then you take yourself into a little walk. Yep. Want to try? So again, your job is to think head, this joint, hips. Just thinking those three. So you've got the head here, hip joint. Now just quiet. Just think of being quiet, because remember, it's brain body schema. It's not in the body so much as in the brain. You're visualizing in the brain. That's better. Yes, that's very good. That's right. So now you're much quieter and you're thinking more body schema, I can tell, because everything's much quieter now. You haven't got that voluntary movement system busy. There you go. Very good. Very good. That's starting now. Now you'll notice as that begins to go, all of this follows, and there you go. That's it. You start to move forward. Great. You want to try? Yeah. Okay. So you're starting remembering, oh, here's my head, my brain. It's the very top of me. There we go. That's good. So again, in body schema, it's just images. You could still look at the pictures over there. You can still look in them around the room. There we go. And then remembering those arms, the joint here. And thinking of the whole arm. So you're not just thinking at the joint, you're thinking of the whole arm right down to the hand. That whole arm is able to move at that joint. There you go. And as it begins to move, it does sometimes feel like you're going a little forwards. And if you start to notice that, that's okay. You can just let yourself go a little forward. That's okay. There you go. Like that. Yes, exactly like that. Continue that way. I know it feels strange, but just keep going that way. Forwards. Now take a walk. There we go. How does that feel? Yeah, good. You want to try? Yep. There we go. So remember, the temptation is always, when you do yoga classes and things, you see them in Pilates, people sort of do something like that. No, that's voluntary movement system. So the beautiful thing about this is I don't have to do anything. I just have to think, just have to make images like Eiffel Tower. And the first image is that brain, very high. And then as I think about that brain, that's right, something kind of starts to happen. It's hard to know what it is. Your breathing's changed. I don't know if you've noticed he started to breathe differently then. And then as you think about that, remembering the whole arm, not just the joint under the neck, but thinking, yes, I've got these two arms. As you think of the brain and then you think of the arm, just the images, there you go. And then that's right, that forward takes you up off the hip joint, and there's a little forward in the hip joint, and off you go. Very good. Bill, you ready? Okay. I'm sorry for the online people that I can't give you lessons, but if I do Zoom, I can do Zoom. There we go. That's it. Yes, that's it. I don't know if you notice anything happening, but there is things going on. Now you're going backwards. Now that's interesting. Now just remember whole head. Yes, that's it that way. That's forwards. Then this area. Yes, that's right. That direction. Yes. And then as that goes, then all of this here is going to go. And remember the hip joint where it is very low down. The hip joint goes just a little backwards. Just a little. There we go. That way. In this direction. Okay. And take a little walk in that direction. How are we doing? Okay. Who else? You want to try? Yep. Please think about what your activity is going to be this afternoon, what you want to do. Thank you. There we are. So again, here you are here. We're going to do sitting, right? We're going to have a look at how you sit. So one of the first things that will be important is to locate the joint that helps you to sit. And the joint that helps you to sit is actually right down here in the hip and the knee. Sitting is about legs. It's not about head, not about arms. It can be about arms, but the main thing, there we go. There's a little forward movement. That's great. Now take that forward movement and begin to walk. Yeah, very good. Okay. Anyone else? Yep. Okay. So again, you're very kind to be doing that for the online people. Thank you. So again, thinking, yes, here's my... So we're doing the 1, 2, 3. That's what I was letting you know about. Okay, my head, here at my arms, at my hip joint. Head, arms, hip joint. And really, you just think those three. You don't even have to think I have to do anything. I just have to think the thoughts. I just think the thoughts. And as I think of those thoughts, it will start to talk, like I said, tumo, like the warming up process. In this case, it's the postural process. So as you think about head and you think about the arms, remember the arms are moving, the whole arm in this upward forward direction. There we go. And then remembering, as we did before, you've got the hip joint, and there's just a little bit movement of the hip joint going. You can think of sometimes that the hips go back. That can sometimes help. So you think, oh, hips are going back. As I think about the head, that's right. As I think about the arms, that's it. Thinking, there we go. Yes, that's it. There you are. Now keep going with that, and off we go. Lovely. Up off the hip joints. Okay. Yep. Everyone wants their little walk after lunch. Yeah, that's right. Our little, call this an Alexander warm-up. So we're just practicing these simple ideas that I suggested in the morning. So we're doing them all together, one after the other. So many people have asked me, how do I practice? Well, this is it. And if you practice this, every time you do it, you'll gain a different experience. It won't ever feel the same twice. If it does feel the same twice, it probably means you're trying to feel it, in which case go back to Eiffel Tower. Because the postural support system is vast, it's very complex, and we can't even know how it's working. But it starts first with the relation of the head to the spine. That's what Alexander discovered. There you are, that's good, that's starting to wake up now. And that head to the spine sort of starts to create a little bit of that energy along the spine. That's good. Then remembering, okay, now I've got these two arms. Yes, yes, that's great. And yes, that's right. You can see the rib cage gets affected by that. Yes, there you go. Now, before you move, I know you're beginning to move, but let's just keep going. We'll add that last one of the hip joint. So there's just whole torso where the hip joint is, just slightly tilting forward, just a tiny bit, as the arms go, as the head goes. So you've got head, arms, there you go, and off you go. Good, good, good. And it's probably a little too forward, but that's okay. You can start to get the sense of that upward forward organizing movement, yeah? Did everyone have a turn now that wanted a turn? Yep, great. So again, we're doing a 1, 2, 3. So there's whole head. And you know, when I'm doing this myself, I have to make sure I'm doing it. I have to make sure my head's moving and all my body's following, because that's all, there you go. That's good. That's very nice, yeah. And so as you think about your head and your spine, good. Wait a second, I'm going to give you a little bit more information about the hip joint now. So you're doing very nicely. So this is going to be important for sitting. There you go. And off you go. Very good. You feel that? Yeah. And so that movement, that forward movement, could turn into just going down in the chair. So you've got that forward movement, but instead of going that way, you just go down in the chair. We'll work on that later. Yeah. Yes.
When you're using your hands like that, it reminds me of cranial sacral.
Yeah, I think they do similar. Yes.
Suggestion was that we imagine like an imaginary sky hook.
Yeah.
Kind of like holding up our spine, but it's kind of suspended.
Yes, I'm not so. Put it this way, metaphors like that, which aren't actually real, can work, and they can work very well, and then one day they don't. And the thing is, if you want a universally reliable image you are the most reliable image. Your design, your structure. So we actually know the head's doing this. We actually know the spine's doing this. We actually know the arms are doing this. So when we take the imagery that is most closely connected to the actual truth of the mechanism, it's more universally reliable every time. If we take, I'm thinking of a waterfall coming up through the middle of me or things like that, they definitely help. Those metaphors can definitely help. And if someone's struggling, that can help them get out of that. So I'm not saying that. But if you want a universally reliable image, then you go to your own structure, your own design.
So you're using the word optimal posture?
Yes. He talked about directions.
Directions.
Yeah. He used to say there's no such thing as a right position, but there is such a thing as a right direction. So the head is always moving this way. So if I could show you, I demonstrated before. I can go in a really weird position, but as long as my head's moving forward and my arms, even though my arms are pulled back, I'm actually thinking of my arms going forward. Even though my hips are thrust forward, I'm actually thinking of going forward. So those deeper intrinsic muscles that I told you about, the way they're moving is not the same as the larger ones. The larger ones are pulling me back, but the inside ones, it's like Terminator. You ever seen Terminator? No, probably no one here has. Or if they have, they don't want to admit to it. Oh, you have? All right, okay. Well, you know how the Terminator, doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what you do. You burn him, you shoot him, you chop him in half, you crush him under a ton of things. It doesn't matter. He turns into this little silver liquid. And then very slowly he goes, and back again. There he is. Well, that's the postural support system. It's always moving you in the same direction. It's like, if I'm here, it's always going wrong, like the Terminator. I'm back here. When I'm finished being back here, because I'm trying to get under a bar and I'm trying to go over there and it's dark. But when I'm finished with that, it's like, wrong. So if you can imagine it like that, the postural support system is always moving you in. That's what Alexander meant when he said there's no such thing as a right position, but there is such a thing as the right direction. Yeah. Did you want to, I think I've worked with you. You want to do a little bit? Okay, fine, problem. Okay, so now I was talking in the lunch and I was saying, well, one of the other innovations that Marge brought to Alexander teaching, aside from starting to do activities instead of in and out of chair, the other thing is she asked the students what they wanted to do. And that meant the students realized, oh, I have a responsibility. I have to think, well, what am I curious about? What do I want to know about? What do I want to explore? And so we know you like to look at sitting, so we could start with that. But you wanted to also do that. So we've got 2 in the sitting club. Yeah. You? They're the same. Whether you're meditating or you're not meditating, it's the same. Yeah. Oh, I see. Do you mean sitting on the floor on a cushion, or do you mean sitting in a chair? Oh, you mean that kind of sitting? Oh, okay. So show me how you do it. Yeah, that's how we start. Set it up how you'd like it so you're comfortable. Yep. And anybody else wants to join in, just also grab a zabuton. What?
Say it so they hear.
Oh, he's going to do a meditation sitting. So we're going to have a look at how we could use these different movements in meditation. And I invited anybody else who wants to also join in. So what I'd like to do is just see you getting down on your own first, just to see what you do. Okay. Right. Okay. Great. And after a while, what happens when you're sitting? Do you have any things that start to happen? Oh, okay. Just starting again. Oh, because it didn't work. You don't have to like that if you don't want to. You can sit in a chair. But if you want to sit like that, you can. But the first thing I'd say, this is a technical thing. In Tibetan Buddhism, they actually have a teaching called the 7 points of meditation. And one of them is that the head tilts forward, which I thought was fascinating. But one of the other things, mechanically, if the knee is higher than the hip joint, you're mechanically being pushed that way, which is not going to be helpful in the long term. So what I'd suggest is we get another cushion and we put you high. Is this a cushion? Yeah. So this might be too high, but let's just see. You'll notice immediately, just because you're higher, it's way more comfortable. There. How does that feel? Yeah. In your which one? In your cow joint up here or in the flamenco? Okay, so show me what you do when you're sitting like this. Yeah. So you're trying to lift your chest up, right? That's why you're getting sore in the flamenco joint. Oh. You don't need to lift your chest up. No. In fact, if anything, for now, let's just start by letting it just kind of, yes, that's it. That's it. Yes, very good. So now you've stopped doing a lot of extra work that you didn't need here. Now we're going to go back here. We're not done yet because there's still going to be just this very delicate thought. I would suggest, before you do your actual meditation, this is like maybe 5 minutes of just getting connected, more tuned into your movement system. Yeah. And so let me just show for the online people and for the people here, one of the things that, what's your name again? Gary. One of the things Gary was doing was something to lift your chest up, that kind of thing. Can you see? A lot of meditators do that. Yeah. So that's what I'd call a voluntary. So it's not the postural system that's working now. It's volitionally trying to put yourself into a position using much larger extrinsic muscles, which aren't really designed to be doing that and will quickly get tired for various physiological reasons, right? So that's why the first step is just thinking of softening, just letting the chest, yes, that's it, there you go. And you see that all releases down there. Could you feel that? Yeah. And that's not slumping. You're not slumping. Yeah.
Could I hear someone else say that?
What?
Could I hear someone else say that?
Is he?
It's not something.
Here, have you got an iPhone? Have you got? Take a photo. Have you got who's someone with you? Yeah, you can delete it when you're done, but just show he can see a photo. It's important. Okay, now show him the photo. This is what I was saying before. Sensorily, people get yeah. Exactly. But that's great. You see, his experience is different from what is actually happening, and that's very Alexander. The people think that they're in the wrong position when actually they're not at all. There, yes, very good, very good, very good. There you are. Now, do you notice that you're coming up in the cow joint now? I don't know if anyone could see that, but there you go. Yes, yes. See, it starts from the top, not the bottom. If you get the top moving, the bottom will follow. That's it. That's good. Now, the other thing that's quite important in the meditation situation, I'll spend a bit of time here and then get around with everyone, is that whole thing I talked about of a slightly forward motion. There we go. At the hip joint, you just that's it, just like that. There's a very small, delicate forward motion at the hip joint, which is helping the legs go down towards the zabuton. I'm going to have to take my jumper off in a minute. There we are. How are we feeling? How are you doing? Yep. Go on. Yep. Yeah, I'll take that. We can. Yep. He's moving the pelvis. I'm telling him to quit it. Yeah. The forward movement is his whole torso. It's not just the pelvis. That's a good point. But the forward, yeah, but the hip is a pivot point for actually the head and the whole torso to be tending forward. So it's not actually a pelvic movement, it's a whole torso movement. There you go. So the whole torso, yes, there you are. That's the torso movement. Feel that? And you can be a little forward. It's okay to be a little forward. Yeah, it's better to be a little forward than to be back. Because when you're forward, you're causing an engagement of all these extensors, which is fantastic. That's what's going to help breathing. It's going to give you support. It's going to be able to stay. If you go back, you start to bend and you disengage and then you lift and it starts going crazy. Okay.
Getting permission to have my
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Remember, the postural movement system ultimately doesn't care where you are. You could be any position at all and it will still optimize you. So even though your head might be a little forward, you still think of that little tilt forward and then there we go. All of the, there you go. Yes. Can you see that? Could you see that? Some people can, some people can't. Could you feel that?
What are you asking me?
Well, no, just did you notice that something just changed then? Yeah, that's right. George Bernard Shaw had Alexander lessons. And one of the things he said, Alexander calls us to witness a change so small and so tiny that only he can see it. Hang on, I'll just take this off for 1 second. As I say, as soon as I start using my hands, I just think it improves circulation. My daughters, we always used to have a competition when they were growing up because my hands were always warmer than theirs and they got really annoyed. But it was always true. My hands were always warm, but their hands would be cold. So for whatever reason, I think my postural system is, some people, for example, you do Alexander, and if they suddenly release too quickly, they'll faint because the pressure will lessen in the smooth muscle in the artery and the veins. You know, it's been like that, and suddenly it just kind of undoes a little bit. And so, of course, suddenly the blood pressure drops, just like you have a bigger hose, and people go, boom. Remember once I was teaching, I was standing here and my friend was teaching over there. Can they still see me? Yeah, we're on the other camera. Thank you. And as I was teaching, suddenly the pupil over there just fell on the ground. And she looked at me and she said, I think he's dead. He wasn't, he was all right. Help me. Can't quite see. Oh, there you are. That sounds great. Yeah.
Better.
Yeah, I just can't see it. Yeah. Okay. So we're going around to the meditators. We're going to give everyone a little bit of a. So again, the same thing. Just remembering, here's my head. Now, again, your knees are a little bit higher, but they're okay. But if you want to play around with getting even a little higher, I mean, you can. If you find that you can't stay there a long time, for example, the tantric meditators often had a wedge-shaped cushion. So it would be large at the back, tapering down to small at the front. So again, watching Alexander lessons is not so spectacular if it's like this. It's more interesting if we're doing things like, you know, how do I vacuum more? And you want to do getting in and out of the chair, don't you? So that'll be interesting. We'll have a go at that in a minute. There we are. Sorry? Yeah. Remember when I used to go and, okay, so I'm going to do a very interesting thing for you. So I'm just going to help you just come a little more forward on your hip joint. There you go. Now that probably feels like you're forward, yeah? But you're not, you're straight. So we get an iPhone out if you need to. Now, again, just let this, same as I was saying before with, I've forgotten again, Gary, just let the whole chest soften a little bit. That's it, yes, just a little bit. So sometimes we do this little push of the chest, which means we're pulling in the flamenco joint and we're hollowing the back. So you want to have it's not dropping, but it's just not pushing up anymore. So it's a big difference between slumping and just letting the chest soften. It's like you're just wanting to know, oh, did I push it up a little bit? Did I try to make my chest get up a little bit so I could feel high? In which case, I'm just going to stop that. There you are. That's good. And then the same with the arms, remembering where that joint is at the front. And there we go. That's it. That's it. Yes. And again, you might feel like, oh, but I'm slumping forward. I'm rounding my shoulders. But if you notice, breathing's easier. Yeah. So there's your proof. Don't listen to the feeling. Notice the function. If the function is improving, even if your feeling says that's wrong, you're rounding your shoulders. That's not right. Don't listen. Listen to the fact that the breathing got easier. Okay. Oh, aren't you good? Thank you. Online people give a special thanks to our camera lady. Yeah, it's hard for them. Well, there's not a whole lot to see, but there are little things that happen, just as George Bernard Shaw said. There we go. So again, your job is body schema, like Eiffel Tower. And you just start to, yes, that's great. You're starting to move now. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Don't know if you can notice that. You see his breathing changing? Starting to move more? Sometimes people think, oh, he's a bit of, is it really changing or is he just telling me it is? That's why groups are good. Because sometimes, you know, other people say, oh, no, I can see it. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So again, as I think I might have said in the morning, yes, we're a forward moving, we're forward orientated in our movement. So that's why head's tilting forward, arms are tilting forward. At the hip joint, we're also going forward. There you go. That's it. Yes, go that way. That's right. Exactly. That's the forward motion on the hip joint. How does that help? Yeah. So when you're meditating, you want that movement to be happening. It's not something you just do and then you stop. It's a continuous, never-ending forward motion movement. Because it's postural direction. Yeah, it's a direction. That's the other name. Good. Great. Okay, don't worry, I'll get there. Then we're going to do sitting and standing. That's a good one. So notice when I came over, the first thing you want to do is a whole bunch of wiggly things. Yeah, that's fine. That's just normal. But that's what I call voluntary movement system adjustment. That's your idea trying to put yourself where you think you're supposed to be. What? Here comes the teacher. Yeah. Well, I don't want you to get frightened of this. But I mean, you know, my Pilates people, they do that all the time. As soon as I put my hands near them, they go like this.
I think of the book, you know, the book on the head.
Yeah. But, you know, you think about it, why would stiffening you make you freer? Why would pulling your body up and putting more tension in it make you better? It's not logical when you think about it, but that's what everybody does. That's what they do.
Spiked heels make you more beautiful.
Hmm? Oh, I can do a whole session on spiked heels if you want. You can walk in high heels very nicely. The secret about high heels is you have to tell your brain I'm walking on a hill. That's all. No, seriously, you have to tell your brain we're walking on a hill. And as soon as your brain knows that, it will readjust what you're doing. Oh, yes, a whole bunch of interesting things. See, as I said, the postural movement doesn't care where you are. It will optimize you in any position. As you study more, you realize some positions are just more comfortable than others, so you want to go there, not because it's the right position, but simply because it feels better. There you go. Now you're moving, darling. That's it. Now that is postural movement. Can you feel it? It's kind of different. It's a movement, but it's more organic, it's more systemic, and more comfortable. That's the key. Even though it may give you a body image which is at variance for the body image you've got in your voluntary movement system, you know. Oh, this is not upright, like you were feeling, you were leaning forward or slumping. No. So part of our job is to redesign, well, the way Alexander put it, he said, once you get to the point where you can trust your feelings, you won't want to use them anymore. It always intrigued me, that comment. He means that once you learn to live consciously in dealing with people, in how you respond to people, in bodhicitta and all those things, you don't want to go back to reacting anymore. You don't want to go back to that reactionary way that we often communicate, where we have a feeling and then we put voice to it. So when you get to the point where you can trust, there you are, that's it. So now we're getting that forward tilt on the hip joint. That's it. So this is a really important part, because if you're going to be there a long time, you want to make sure you've got that constant, perpetual, yes, that's it, constant, perpetual falling forward from the hip joint, the whole torso, not just at the hip, right from the top of the head. Can you feel it? Yeah. And it will sort of send your legs down, and it will start to give your back more strength. You'll start to feel, oh, it's almost like I'm sitting in my own armchair. I'm my own armchair. I'm sitting in me. And of course, that completely frees your mind to start to think about the meditation. You have no distraction at all from your physical self. Nothing but support. There you are. That's great. Very good. Okay. Okay, you ready? All right. So again, just noticing you've got, yeah, you're about level. Okay. Yeah, slightly. So if the knees are slightly above where the hip joint is, you're always going to be challenged by being thrown back. So one way is to just, we'll put more of a forward tilt, which will kind of counteract the legs, or we can put a slightly higher one there. Just see what happens. By the way, yeah, that's it. It's going to feel a bit strange, but there we go. Now, that's just a mechanical thing, but we've still got the you right? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah, thank you. So 1, 2, 3, remember? And even if you think 1, 2, 3, you don't even really have to remember that there's movement, because your brain's already figured out what those movements are. You've already put that into body schema. So at a certain level, you can trust that even though I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and locating the joint. So top joint, cow joint, arms at the bottom of the neck, hips. Top joint, cow joint, arms at the front and bottom of the neck, hips. Top joint, cow joint, arms at the front, hips. Top joint and brain. Let's just say top joint and brain. That's it, top joint and brain. Good, good, good. Arms forwards, and then whole body coming forward at the hips. So again, top joint, arms, whole body, head coming forward at the hip joint. There we go. That's it. You feel that? That's the cow joint. You just got the cow joint kind of opening up. So you can think of a little space under here. Just think of a little space underneath the chin, as though you're opening up a little bit through here. Just a little bit. You can even let your head come back. It's okay. Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's it. So you're just thinking, you're opening up a little under there. Just let it open some more. That's it. So all of this is opening up in that direction. There you go. How's that feel? Yeah. So she's a little less. She's just changed. Are you comfortable now? Yeah. You could meditate on bodhicitta now. Good. All right. Look at me. I'm sweating everywhere. Okay. So time for the sitting and standing. But before I start that, any comments, questions, complaints from anybody, online people? Please feel free to ask questions. Anything from what we've just done in that session that you'd like to ask about? Oh, I didn't help you. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's good. That's why I asked. There you go.
Yes, I have a question online.
Okay. Okay, great.
When you're, so either standing or sitting for the correct head posture, is what you're describing this the same as the tuck chin? They always tell me that in physical therapy, tuck your chin a little, and also in meditation to get the head properly aligned with the spine. Is that I didn't hear you use that terminology, but it appears to me
No.
that's what you're doing.
No, I definitely don't use that terminology for a very, very powerful reason. Because it's all nouns, what you're saying. It's all position, what you're saying. There is no position. There's no permanence. There's no permanence. The idea that I tuck my chin in or I put my head in the correct place, that implies there's a permanent place my head can be. There is no such thing. It's an impermanence, always. Always changing, always moving. Never, never, never the same in any 2 seconds. So that's why you're thinking about the movement of your head on top of the spine. Yes, very good. Very good. There's your cow joint. Do you feel that? Yeah, that's it. That was it. I don't know if you could see that, but you just suddenly, the whole neck and head began to move. So when teachers say use that terminology, they are actually correct in as much as they are giving you the image of what needs to happen. So that's correct. What you have to do as a student is translate that instruction. So that instead of thinking of tucking your head and holding it in a position which you think of as being a line, you start to think that my head is in a perpetual movement falling forward. And I'm just imagining that falling forward movement. And that's what I was doing also with the hip joint. I was showing people it's not that you lean forward at the hips, it's that you're leaning forward, you're moving forward. There's always, your whole body is falling forward at the hip joint. So we'll see if we can get that happening now with you. So remember, right down in the hip joint, right down in the hip joint. Yes, that's it. And just let the chest just soften a little bit. So it's not, yes, that's it. So that you notice there was a little bit of a push there. Yeah. So you let that soften, and that's just giving up the push. It's not slumping. It's just giving up something you've been trying to do, which you didn't need. Yes, good, good. That's as Marge said, all you're getting is the absence of what you had. And then as you think about that, softening in the chest, then you'll notice that the whole body at the hip joint, right down low, really close to the legs, starts this, there you go, forward movement. Come down here. I think maybe you've moved the pelvis a little bit. You've pushed the pelvis. I haven't forgotten your question, by the way, online person. I just got distracted here, but I'll come back to that in a minute. That's it. So just let this roll a little bit. Yes, yes. Now that you've let that roll, which is just down on the pelvis, whole body from the hip. Don't you lift that chest. Whole body moves forward at the hip. There you go. That's it. Yes, that's what you want. Can you feel that? That's the whole body falling forward from the hip joint. And then the arms are also going forward. You love to lift that chest up, but just keep telling that chest to soften. That's it, yes. How does that feel? Yeah, that's postural movement. So back to that question from the online person. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Is it connecting at all, or are you still a bit?
Yeah, it makes sense to avoid sitting in a really stiff position, absolutely. But what I'm curious about is, what if we have a really bad head forward position from working online for years and years and years? And to the extent that it has created an arm disability, very painful one. And so they're working to try to correct that. And so they're continually reminding me, strengthen the area between the 2 shoulder blades just by visualizing strengthening it, not tensing up anything, but also mainly they're saying, remember to tuck your chin so that you're not collapsing your head forward.
Well, I guess what I'd say is the instructions are right, but the means that they're using is not going to be successful. And the reason for that is that you are following a direction of movement which your system does need, but you're trying to use your voluntary movement system to do it. And your voluntary movement system isn't in charge of postural movement. That's not its job. So when you try to use voluntary movement to try to put your head where it should be, or it won't work. So the other thing that I think I want to say to you, which is quite important, I've said this many times in the class, but maybe it'll suddenly make sense to you. Postural movement doesn't care what position you're in. It doesn't care if your head's all rolled over. It doesn't care if your arm's in a strange place. It doesn't care. It can still optimize that. It can still start to give you relief and freedom from pain without necessarily changing the form. So the form is not really as important as the inner movements that are happening in the way that the joints are relating to each other. So if you are, yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. I could go on, but is that making sense or not?
Well, yeah, but it's just that I don't know how to correct my head forward position unless I remember to tuck my chin. And then, like you're saying, it's not a rigid posture. Your head is moving, but if I don't tuck my chin, it collapses into a curve, you know.
Well, as I said, I did say that is the correct direction.
Right.
From what they're saying, I'm not disagreeing with it. There's a movement of your head which you're calling tuck the chin in. I just say that when you're doing that, try to image it first before you literally try to move muscles and literally try to move your head. Start in body schema in the Eiffel Tower. Just imagine your head moving in that direction. Just imagine that forward motion. And if you really work in that body schema, you will start to notice something starting to move a little bit. And then you can kind of go with it and tilt your head a little bit more forward, but you'll find it might be a little less stiff, a little less held, a little less fixed, and that's going to be a good thing. So you can still move.
Is the image of a stack of coins a good image to hold in the mind? It seemed to be helpful to me, but I'm just like to get your
Well,
feedback.
I think I mentioned this before. Someone else was asking about hooks. I think you were in the Tai Chi. Yes, those images can help, but they're not reliable. They might work for a certain amount of time and then suddenly they don't work anymore because you haven't got coins there. You've got vertebrae there. You haven't got, you've got muscles and vertebrae and joints. So the more that you can be, if you really want to help yourself, go get an anatomy book and start to be able to visualize more clearly your spine and your head and the joints and where they all are. And when you're moving your head forward, where is it actually moving? Where are you moving it? Like go and look at some pictures and build up in your body schema a much more vivid, clear picture of what's happening in that area, what it looks like, what your vertebra looks like,
Yeah, okay, but the image of the Eiffel Tower to me is a very rigid image.
Oh, I'm just saying Eiffel Tower to put you in the different part of the brain. I'm not suggesting you think of Eiffel Tower in your body. No, that was just a metaphor. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I've gone and confused you. I'm so sorry.
Well, no, that's okay. The stack of coins is a metaphor too. And it seemed like it was helping me because it allowed for a little bit of movement while keeping.
Well, then keep it. Yeah, keep it. Keep it. All I'm saying is that as you continue to use images, start to get the image, your vertebrae are like a stack of coins, but why don't you imagine the vertebrae stacked upon each other rather than coins? Start to imagine the vertebrae because they're stacked on top of each other. And then I feel so sorry for you holding that all the time. You're okay? Yeah. And once you've kind of got the idea that the vertebrae are a stack, then take a look at all of the muscles that attach them together and then be able to visualize them as well. So kind of slowly shift from your coin image to vertebral image. The vertebrae stacked up. And then put in muscles. Joints always first, muscles second. Because muscles always operate around joints.
Okay, thank you. That helps, yeah.
Okay, no worries. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So maybe we take a little 10-minute break. And then when we come back, who else is going to do activity? Going to start with you, Lou. Who else? 2, 3. Yes, great. 4. Yep, that's right. Anyone else? 5. What do we want to do? Eating. Great. It's a terrific one. 5, 6. Okay. All right. And think of an activity or something we do. Great. So we've got 6 people after the QK. Oh, QK is Japanese for break. I'm so used to saying it, I forget people don't know what it means. It's a QK. What kind of a chair do you want to? Well, I can work with both. I can work with that one. I can work with this one. I can work with a stool. So which one do you find the most trouble with? This. So let's work with that. What? Because of the soft cushion. Right. Okay. So let's just start. People will come in. They soon learn I always start on time. Back. Yeah. So I think if we put this on a little table so that it's facing me, yeah, let's take this off. And if that can be positioned so that when I'm working with Lou, we can see. So I'm going to probably be here. So how's that? Just turn it up so you can see me. There you are, a little bit more. A little bit more. Yes, great. Okay, good. All right, so we are now starting. And thank you for your work, Nancy, but I figured we can start using the table. Yeah. So Lou, is that right, Lou? Yeah. Lou would like some help getting out of the chair. So what I'd like to know first, Lou, is what's your plan at the moment? Do you have a plan to get out of the chair? How do you think about it?
Well, I know I have trouble getting out of the chair, so what I try and do is compensate what I feel lack of muscle.
Okay.
So what I do is
Okay. Right. Well, I think it's a good plan. I like it. I think it's a very good plan. Yeah, I like it. Okay. But obviously, if you're in the opera, you can't really do that. So it's a plan with limitations in terms of where. All right. Okay, so this is important. We're moving into a slightly different area of Alexander's work now, because now we do want a voluntary movement plan. Now we actually do want to talk to the voluntary movement system, and we want to specify very clearly what movements we want and what order we want them. Because sometimes a lot of dysfunction happens because the voluntary movement plan is really not good. And so that kind of mucks up the postural movement system. So first thing is we kind of want you to get at least from here to there. So, yeah, well, go on back again. We're going to talk it through. So one of the important things for the voluntary movement plan is that you get a clear sequence of events and movements in your consciousness. So the first one, and I think it was quite, I don't know if you noticed, used his hands on the chair here and here, and he used his hands as a leverage to help move forward in the hips. That's a great plan. However, what you did also do is drop down the cow joint. That's not such a good part of the plan, right? So we don't want the cow joint to drop down, because what that will do is if we have the cow joint staying where it is, you're going to, every time you get out of the chair, you're going to start to give the extensor system of your back a little workout, right? So remembering what we've done, the 3 points about where your brain is in space, brain's up here, and then you're remembering the cow joint, and remembering even though you've got your arms there, there's still this forward motion. So now you know where the hip joint is, right down there, and you've got your hands to help give you a bit of extra strength. From the hip joint, I'll put my hands here, thinking of your head staying up in the air, you're going to go forward on the hip joint, just forward on the hip joint, to, as far as you can. There you go, like that. Good. How'd you go? Good. So that's number one. Now, number two, I don't know how bad your legs are, how weak they are. It kind of seems like you've got some good muscle there. Now, notice how the cow joint's gone down. That's okay. You can look down. But if you want to look, just let me give you a little coaching on how to look down. Start looking down from the top joint. So that's, yes, look down like that. That's different, isn't it? So that's looking down from the top joint rather than starting at the cow joint. Okay, so what we're going to do is keep going forward at the hip joint, keep going forward at the hip joint, keep going forward at the hip joint. Now, at some point, the feet aren't much good to you out there.
No, then.
So they have to come back. That's right. So we basically want them to come back as far as they can. Yep. So here's what's going to happen. And Let me describe this. Oh, I have to face the camera, sorry. Before we do any more, let's go back again. Take a break. Come back. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go forward on the hip joint. And basically, mechanically, what we have to do is move the weight from the hip onto the foot. Right? So you're taking the center of gravity. The center of gravity is back here. You're moving the center of gravity to here. Then you're bending at the hip joints and moving it so that it's over at the feet. So you're going to probably have to go a long way. Now, when you've got the center of gravity through your feet, then you're straightening your legs and coming up. That's the move.
Okay. Now, when I move my center of gravity over my legs,
Yes.
do I still maintain the cow joint? And
Well, you don't go down. You don't have to maintain anything. As long as you just don't go down, you'll be all right. It's more like what Marge said. All you'll get is the absence of what you had. If you think about trying to keep it up, you're for sure going to tighten it. So it may go down a little bit. Let's not worry about that too much. But one question for you. Do you think, and I'm going to show you just so I'll bring the chair over so the online people can see. It's not the same chair, but it doesn't matter. So the question I have for you, so we've got this one, we're doing that. Then we're going here. Now you watch me. So the thing I'm talking about is you keep going over till the weight is onto the feet here. Have your legs got the strength to do that or not? Do you feel confident? Well, it can be that they do and it can be they don't. So we won't until we try, right? But they're pretty big and they don't look wasted to me. So I think they've got the muscle power. But here's the important thing. The muscle power is in the legs. And see, this is what happens when a lot of people find difficulty. I'm going to show you the other thing. They get to here and they go, oh, and they do all of this before they've even started with, and they push. It's like they're pushing down so much, no wonder they have trouble getting up. So what we're trying to do is eliminate the downward pushing, get the weight here, and then straighten the legs. So we're doing the 1, then we're going 2 onto the legs, then straightening the legs. Okay? So you know the move. Before you do it, just rehearse it in your mind, just like you were singing Happy Birthday and no one could hear you. This is body schema. So in your body schema, don't do it. Actually imagine it in body schema. You can all try that if you all want to do it. You say, yeah, good, some people are. You can, even the people at home on that. Imagine that sequence of events. So I'm using my hands coming forward in the hip joint till I'm sitting on the edge of the chair, pausing. Then I'm going to continue moving in the hip joint to the point where the weight is now coming onto my feet. And then when my weight is on my feet, I'm going to straighten my legs and use my hands to help me go up. Yep, that's the image. Now, once you've got that image, forget it, trust it. You don't have to think about that. Oh, we're not starting yet. That's it. Once you've decided, now is that clear for you, that image, Loom?
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're ready, just do it. Just do it. There, then there, and up you go. Yeah. That was easy. Right. There you go. So your legs can do it.
That was
Right. That was
think forward onto the leg.
and to the legs. Yeah.
I don't like to do this.
Yeah, you were doing all of that in the upper body. Yeah. Sometimes remember I said it's so simple, it's ridiculous. It's so simple, it's shocking. The legs get you up out of the chair. Right. Anyone else want to do that before I go on? Oh, look, Bill's having a go. Come on, Bill. It's always good to do a little quick one with everybody. Hang on. Maybe Bill doesn't want me here. Okay, so I'm going to stay here. So remember, what's important is to rehearse the movement in your mind before you do it. So you're going forward at the hip joint and then, no, wait, that's not rehearsing, that's doing. Just rehearse. I'm going to go forward on the hip joint. And then when I'm on the edge of the chair, then I'm going to continue forward so that the weight's on my feet. And then once the weight's on my feet, I'm going to straighten my legs. So you imagine that sequence in the body schema. Then when you're ready, you just go. You don't try to think about it anymore. You just off you go and go. Just go. There. Okay. All right. And so you added a little bit of arms as well. Did you see that? Got a little bit, used a bit of arms. You could do it without arms, I'm sure, Bill. Maybe, well, you experiment. Because it's the voluntary movement system, there's no right way. There's no one way. There's literally 500,000 different ways. Yeah, that looked good. Yeah. Okay. All right, we have, yeah. I'm ready to move on. Yeah. Oh, there.
Sorry, people online. So we're talking about, do we have problems in my hips? Yeah, I do, they're tight. I can't sit cross-legged anymore. I do an awful lot of sitting.
Right.
So how can I do it in a way where I won't be creating more damage?
Well, first thing I have to say to you, there's nothing wrong with your hips. Just as there's nothing wrong with yours either. Your hips are fine. However, you're probably doing something which is giving a little trouble to your hips. We can figure out what that is, and you quit doing it, you'll be fine. Pain is what's right about us. Stiffness is what's right about us. That's not what's wrong, that's what's right. Because the system tells you, oh, you're not really using yourself the way you're designed to be used, so this is taking more effort. That's information you want. That's not unfriendly, that's friendly. The trouble is we don't know how to deal with that. We don't know what to do with that information. We don't know how to change it. And that's what Alexander figured out, how you can use that information in constructively. So what's the activity? And standing up? Okay. And what's this one? What's this mean? Okay. Okay. So what did you notice when you lifted up your legs to put it on the coffee table? Here we are. This is your coffee table. Oh, they're quite light. There we go. There's your coffee table. So put your legs. Okay, so what did you notice you did in your coordination to put your feet up there? Anything? And nothing is okay. You're not sure? Okay. I'm going to come here.
But I do notice that.
Yeah.
Pushing it off.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Alexander is it's not really a therapeutic process. Its aim is not to reduce pain. Its aim is to help you understand how you're designed to coordinate. And if you follow that design, if you cooperate with that design, the usual result is less pain, less stiffness. But the aim is not less pain, less stiffness. The aim is to figure out a coordination plan like I did with Lou. So if we go in this situation, oh, a bit of static, sorry. So what I would say is bring your legs down again, right? So if you're spending a lot of time in the chair, one thing I would say is just to practice moving every now and again. So let's just see you move forward on your hip joint. Okay. So can you probably see something, Lou, can you? Cow joint, that's right. That doesn't bring you forward from the chair. That's not its job, right? Now, this is going to be very weird because you are so used to using the muscles here to help you go forward. But in fact, what they're doing is if you're moving the cow joint and dropping down, you're putting downward pressure on your hip joint every single time you move forward. That can't be good. And your hips don't like it. Obviously, they're telling you they don't like it. So we'll play a little game to begin with. So just think you're going to come forward on the hips. Off you go. Okay, good. There you go. That was very impressive, actually. How did that feel? A lot better, yeah. I'm very impressed by that. Yeah. Exactly, exactly. Oh, you got it. Usually I do this with students and they can never do it. They always want sport, but you could just straight away, you have very good mind control. Must be all the Buddhism you've done. Very, very, yeah, yeah, very good, yeah. Okay, who is next? We've got 7 people and we've got 35 minutes. So who is next? You're so kind to hold that. Am I still on it? Yes, I still on it. Okay, put it on. Who's next? I gave you numbers before the break. You're 6. What number were you? I put you out of order, I think. So you were 1. Who was 2? Okay, hands up, everyone who put their hand up to do something. Let's count you off now. Okay, so you've already done 1, 2, and who else? Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and didn't you have 1 too? No, she. So over to you. So I think if we can put that on the table, they can probably see me. I'll go up here. There we are. You can see it. So we do it over here. The online people can see. Great.
It is
Probably if I stand near you, you can hear me. Oh,
okay, here we go. When I go hiking
yes.
and I'm hiking for some time, this hip gets very stiff.
Okay, I forgot. I remember you now. So we're going to turn this around. Here's our hiking over here. Anyone else wants to do steps, they can. So, okay. So we'll just start with you. Your name again was? Anna. Okay, Anna-san. Not san, that's Japanese. Anna-san. Okay, Anna-san. So let's just see you go up and go down as though you're going up the track and down the track, down and then up, and then turn around and come back, going down and going up. Okay, so what happens after a while? Where do you feel the soreness? In your right side hip. Yours is exactly the same. All right, okay. Again, we don't fix hip. We try to do a clear movement plan. So what I'm going to do first is, so the one that's here is going to have to do the push, right? So let's give the problem one the pushing job. Okay, so we're just going to stop there. So now we're going to see how we can get that to work. Now, can the online people see me clearly? No, hang on, just a little bit so they can see me as well. There you go. That's good. So here's the thing. We go back to these simple postural optimizational movements even for this. So why the head? Because we want to make sure there's no downward pressure. Last thing you want is downward pressure from up here. So we begin with where the brain is in space, where the top joint is, and where the cow joint is. And we remember, oh yes, you've got your arms, just thinking. And I didn't talk about the flamenco so much, but it's there. But if you start thinking of that whole rib cage together with your arms and your head, so you're thinking now head, arms, rib cage. And what happens in that rib cage is it's just going to, again, just go a little forwards this way. That's right. And as it goes forwards, onto the foot, straighten the foot and go up. Go up. How'd you go? That's right. That's right. You want to do one more time? Okay. You want to do the other side or same side? Okay. 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 Now, if I was being very strict, which I can be sometimes, I wouldn't have let her get up like that. Come on back. So how you approach that step is part of how you're going to go up that step. That's right. So we'll just, again, thinking head, arms, rib cage, or top joint, cow joint, arm joint, whole arm. That's it. There you go. Come forward, and forward, forward. Keep walking and walking and walking and forward. So your propulsion is through your whole body, yeah? Oh, now coming down. That's all right. Now coming down, you've got to go down the hill. Sometimes going down the hill is more problematic than going up. Exactly. So here's a little tip. When you're going down, because of fear, you sort of want to do that. If you had a pair of skis on and you did that, what would happen? You'd flip up like that. Your legs would go up. You do not want to do that, right? So you actually do the same thing as you did when you were going up. You go into Groucho Marx. So, and again, remember, it's the legs. So again, I just remember, just quietly. Probably a good kind of preliminary direction for you is just to think of letting everything be quiet from our whole system. Just think of letting everything be quiet. Because the postural movement system is very delicate and has a very small voice. It's like a small hinge that swings a big door. That's what it's like. So it's a small hinge, but it swings a big door, because as the postural movement system starts to come alive inside, there we go. Now it's starting to tick. That's great. Then we remember here, and you can look down. And if you're going to look down, think of looking down from the top joint and looking down where you're going to go. That's it. There you are, so you can see. Now you're going to just send the knee forward. So off you go. You're bending a little forward and send the knee forward, send the knee forward, send the knee forward. Okay. Just come on back again. We do it one more time. How did you go? Yeah. Let me show you. So when we're here, you don't have to look, but if you want to look, you can tilt down there. When I say the knee forward, you begin with that forward motion on the hip joint. Yeah, because you started just with the knee, and that's a little, yeah. So you've got not too much, but just so you've got forward, and then the knee goes, and then you go down like that. So let's try that. Anyone wants to try that on stairs? Go ahead. Go ahead. Again, we're starting to look at the 6 and 7. Remember I said the elbows, the knee joints are 6 and 7?
3 things.
Yeah, that's right. But what happens when you start to do it? It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It goes like that. Sometimes you need emphasis on certain numbers. Not everyone is the same. But keep going through. Okay, remember quiet. So you've just got a little quiet through your whole. Then you have take the time. Okay, top joint, cow joint, arm joints, hip joint, top joint, cow joint, arm joint, hip joints, top joint, arm joint, cow joint, hip joint, top joint, cow joint, arm joint. Yes, there you are. Then you go forward a little bit, and then the knee goes, and off you go. I think that's going to work very well. Yeah, very good. So it's like anything. The more you rehearse, the more it'll just work for you when you go on the mountain thing. So sometimes you have to put a lot of energy, just like you would if you were learning a song, or anything takes practice. Does anyone else have a burning need to try this? You want to try? Oh yeah, because of your hip, you're on our list, aren't you? We're probably out of order in the number. That doesn't matter. Oh, you were actually next. Okay. So have a walk up and let's see what happens. You do your best. Don't worry. Yeah. You're already doing much better than I think, aren't you? Yeah, that's right. So you are doing very well. There's a couple of things I can help you with, but just come on down so we can see. Okay. Now you probably noticed that time, not so much hip forward. So she needed a little bit more. Could you see that? Because then if it's too straight, you've got the risk of going that way. And then of course you start to do this. Okay. So I think put one foot up to start. Right. The area we want the flamenco joint, I haven't talked about it much, but I think that's the one that's very loose with you. And so what we want to do is sometimes the flamenco joint is really the rib cage. It's at the base of the rib cage. It's the first joint where you can actually really extend back. As you probably know, since you're a chiropractor, Nancy, there's not a whole lot of extension in the thoracic spine, because the way the spinous processes come down, they don't leave much room for extension. Plenty of flexion, but not much extension. So what happens is that the extension is beginning there. But what we want to make sure of is that there is just at that area, as you think of head, arms, there, at that flamenco joint, there's just various delicate, that's it, there you are, that way. Now go that way and off you go. That way and off you go. Yes. Can you see the whole extensor system gets kicked into play? Because if you go back, it's like you're shortening and disengaging it. But as soon as you go forward, the extensor system says, yeah, sure, we can do that. We can hold everything forward like that. That's what we're designed to do. Because the leg connects to here. You know, the psoas muscle coming from the femur, I'm doing all this chat because she's a chiro, it goes into the front of the lumbar, as you know, right? So if this extensor system isn't going, when the psoas pulls, it pulls the upper body back. So, but when you've got your, yeah, that's right. But when you've got your head going that way and the rib cage is going forward, yes, then suddenly the extensor system is there. So when the psoas muscle pulls, it doesn't budge. So all of the work goes to lift the leg, and suddenly the leg feels much easier and lighter.
Thinking I needed to stretch it because I'm fairly flexible.
Right.
That's
Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. The answer is always systemic. If we can look at the flow, as soon as you have a kind of pinpointed solution, it usually isn't going to work. It might work for a while, but it's going to create a problem somewhere else which you didn't notice until later. So we're always looking for systemic, total movement plans. Yeah, write that down. our pedagogy over there. Okay, so again, you know, if we say if we say this one is 4, so we've got top joint 1, cow joint 2, arm joint 3, flamenco joint 4, hip joint 5. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So you don't forget the others, but you have a very much stronger emphasis on the flamenco movement joint. That's it. Yes, very good. Excellent, excellent. So when you're ready, remember that the whole torso tips at the hip joint. That's it. The flamenco kind of helps that forward happen. And as you go forward at the hip joint, keep going forward. That's it. Now off you go. Forward and there and there. Yes. And suddenly you feel there's no strain here because you've got the power here now. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. Oh, look, my shirt's come out. I kind of look like how I feel. The shirt in. Okay. I think we've got 2 more people to go, right? We've got you 2 now. What did you want to do? Okay. How? Reading out loud, reading to yourself? Okay. If we can you set it up? We'll bring the chair out here so it's easier for the online. That camera's working, isn't it? That one up there? Yeah. So let's come out here. So bring to read. We got a nice book on body cheetah or something. Yeah. Any book will do. Oh, we've got a book here. Thank you, Lou. Oh, he's got one now. Very important. What's the book? Just kidding. This is hurting now. Why is that? It's biting into my ear. I told you Alexander teachers get very sensitive. Is that right? Hang on. Oh. Wasn't hurting before. It's just, I'm never going to be Madonna. Okay. All right. So, you just talk to me a little bit about what happened in normal reading, not now, but just at home or whatever.
Be that it's the getting tired and feeling stressed and
right.
tense and really that's it. Just
where do you feel tired? Whereabouts in your body do you feel it?
Here.
Right. Around there.
Back here, also eyes.
Okay. How long would you be reading for?
About 60 years.
Oh, no, I'm, yeah, me too. But in one session, 1 hour, 3 hours, 5 hours, all day. Oh, okay. Okay. So that's okay. Just show me, just imagine it's getting towards the end of the 45 minutes. How would you be? How would you be? Yeah, lean back if you want to lean back. Is this the kind of, you'd be leaning on the back of the chair? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, already I think you already have a reasonably good plan. One thing I notice is that when you do go back in the chair, you have to move cow joint forward. And you do need to do that. But one of the first things we begin to get you to think about is to really start that movement forward from the top joint. So again, when I've got my hands here, we're just doing the optimization. We're just doing the postural movement system. A very mysterious, but very powerful underlying organizing system that every creature has. I've worked on horses, by the way. I've worked on horses and cats and dogs. Very interesting. And they love it. The horses always start going, and the equitation people always say, oh, it's a very good sign. That shows they're relaxing when they do that. I say, oh, really? Yeah. So I'm going to just put this down here for a second, just give it a break, so that we can take a look at the movement of the top joint. Look down. There you go. That's the movement of the top joint. So when you move, I'm going to go down here, open camera. When you move at the top joint, there you go, like that. It almost makes you go up. Can you feel that? Whereas if you go on the cow joint, if you go this way, it actually pushes you down. Yeah. So the design of the system is such that if you really move from the top joint, it creates an upward movement for you. It's designed that way. So that's why, again, this is voluntary movement now we're talking. We're not talking postural movement. We're talking about a movement plan, which is a voluntary movement plan. And the voluntary movement plan is to first locate the top joint, take that time near the earlobe, near the ear hole, much higher than you think. That's it. Yes, 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 yes. And then when you realize that, then you tilt at that point to look down at the book. There you go. Now you can open up the book, bring the book. There we go. How are you doing?
Yes, interesting. I still feel a little sinking here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how to prevent kind of that is like cow joint, but I do feel like this part felt good. This it went forward and kind of
Yeah. So it's kind of your arms. So one of the things I want to show you is the arms. The arms are like an overcoat wrapped around the rib cage, right? The arm muscles are external to most muscles that operate the breathing and operate their spine. The arm muscles are superficial. They come over the top. So it's almost like you've thrown a copper coat over. So in your case, what's happening with your arms, you're doing a lot of little things. I don't know why you're doing all those little things. Do you know why you're doing all those little things? No, but you're doing. Can you see it? He's just constantly jiggling and moving. So I don't think you need to do that, basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you a new motor plan. So what we'll keep it open and then hold it like all the way down. So your hands are resting on your legs. That's it, just like that. Good. Okay. So again, you can see when we start to look at activities, we do need to think of the voluntary movement plan that we're using. In the end, when you study Alexander, you're studying the relationship between those two. And in a sense, the Alexander theory is that relationship has got out of sync. It's become unhealthy. And because we are not having a good relationship between those two, we start getting a lot of physical difficulties, which is our system telling you. Now, just as I said to the other lady before, the good direction for you is just think of everything being quiet in your arms, just to start with that, right? There you are, just quiet in the arms, quiet in the arms. Now, you know where the elbow joint is. You also know where the wrist joint is. So what I want you to do first is just move the book with your fingers and your wrist. Just fingers and wrist. Yeah, that's it. So you got a lot of flexibility to move the book with those. You can make it get close to your eyes or not. Okay, great. Now the next one is as you hold the book, I want you just to think of bending at the elbow to bring the book up. just at the elbow. That's it. There you go. And then you've still got your fingers. There you are. Now, that's it. Put it in a position where you want it. Okay. All right. Took you a long time to decide that. You're still deciding that. Why is it taking so long?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you need some fingers there.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay. All right. But this must be true of all books, right? Not just this book. Yeah. Okay. So we need a new plan for holding the book as much as anything else. Okay. Go down again because the hands have got very busy again. That's it. So this is where we want, like I did with Lou, a very clean and clear movement plan where you think, I'm going to bend here and I'm going to put the book here and that's it. I'm done. So it's interesting because I was talking with some people how they did a lot of wiggling at the beginning of the movement, right? He's doing a lot of wiggling at the end of the movement. It's the opposite, but it's the same effect. It's the voluntary movement system trying to feel the right place to be. And it will never succeed in that endeavor. It will never succeed in that endeavor because there is no right place to be because things aren't permanent. Things are impermanent. I don't know if that really means anything, but anyway. Okay. So I'm going to help. So do you have a conception in body schema of where you want the book to end up? Good. So I want you just to rehearse that mentally. So again, we're doing the Eiffel Tower thing, and it doesn't mean he's thinking of an Eiffel Tower. I'm just saying using the part of the brain where the Eiffel Tower can be made. That's all I mean by that. That's it. So now when you're ready, we can tilt at the top joint. Now just bend the elbow and bring the book to where you want it. And then stop. Okay? Are you happy with the book there or you're not happy with the book?
It's good. I'm happy.
Okay. How are you doing now in the whole torso?
It feels, I feel more full.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah. That's right. So when you're trying to feel a comfortable position, that's when you get into trouble. When you have a clear movement plan of I'm doing this, that's when it works. That's how voluntary movement and postural movement work together. Thank you. Very good. Okay. What? Well, let's not be too ambitious. All right. You wanted to do something too. What would? Oh, we can mime it. We can mime it. I've done lots of eating with chopsticks or spoons or drinking tea or lots of things like that. Would it be eating or drinking? Okay. Okay. Can the camera come over here? We can eat over here. We've got a table and everything. Can we move the camera so that it's here? There we are, and I can sit here. Yeah, put it on this one here. That'll work. Great. And just tilt it a little forward. That's great. There. Oh, you can see, right? Now, do you have a plan at the moment? What you do, like as I was saying before to you, your name was Michael. Michael.
Yeah.
Okay. So do we all, right? So, okay, what do you like? What do you like? What do you usually like eating?
Same what we had for lunch, chicken and pasta.
Okay, so you can see the chicken and the pasta. So using knife and fork. So just mime to me what you're doing. Just imagine cutting a little bit of the thing, putting it on the thing, sticking in your mouth. Just do that miming that. Yeah. Okay, good. You're doing pretty good. What is it about eating that you're curious about? Yep. Yep. Okay, so one of the things I noticed, and it's a very small thing, it's not a big thing, because I think you're doing quite well, but that when you started to move your arms, you did a little chest lift, right? So let's take a look. That's a bit same as kind of with Michael, really. When he was feeling the dissatisfaction here, it wasn't really your rib cage that was giving you the dissatisfaction, it was the busyness of the arms that was giving you the trouble. So remember, I think I talked with a few people on the meditation. At the moment, there's a little bit of this. You see me doing that? A little bit of that, where you're trying to make yourself sit up straight. So the first thing, and this might be contrary to everything you've been taught, just let it go down. Yes, that's it. Just let it soft and down. That's it. So in effect, you're actually rolling a little backwards in the hip joint, just rolling a little. So now everyone's saying, Jeremy's telling her to roll the hips forward. I thought your hips have to go forward, not backwards. But Jeremy's telling her to go backwards. How come? Well, it's because she pushed them forward. So we're not actually telling her to go back. We're just telling her to stop doing something she was doing, right? So if I can help you with that, it's like just thinking where the hip joint is and just imagining, yes, there's just a little roll backwards, just a little roll backwards of the whole pelvis. That's it. Good. Now, when you're going to come forward, the forward motion is the whole of you. So it means you really are thinking that the same as Lou did when he got out of the chair. You're thinking the real movement I want to make is at the hip joint, right down. The hip joint's about that far away from the chair. So think really deep. Imagine in the body schema how low the hip joint is. So just take a moment to draw that. Yes. And then you just come forward at the body schema, take your hands and things, get your food. That's it. Cut it out, put it in your mouth. There you go. And then you come back and chew it 100 times, according to someone at lunch. Who was that again? Microbiotics. Yeah, that's right. And my sister did a workshop. She did that workshop, and she said it was amazing. Yeah. I tried it for a while, but I didn't have the patience. There we go. So this one here, again, this one here, and then again, whole body forwards, to food. That's it. Yeah, now no, that's it. Remember, this goes, yes, that way. Did you catch that? Yeah, that's what I was talking about. When you use your arms, you can sometimes do a little push in the rib cage, and that hollows you back and kind of disorganizes the way it works down there. That's it. Have another go. There you are. Lovely. Yes, that's it. Good. That was easy. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. These tiny little things, it might, we've got the camera up here now. Yeah. It's running all the time. Anyway, it's a technical question I want to ask you. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. Oh, I know, these little things, that's right. You have to imagine, like, if you're doing this movement, right, every time you eat, 3 times a day or twice a day, however 10 times you eat, 7 days a week, 30 weeks a month, 12 months a year, year after year, that's going to cost you. That's going to cost you. So even though they seem very small, over time, you get much more economy and much more energy. You know, my teacher, Marge, she sometimes, when someone asked, what did you do? And she said to me, and I don't think they're really interested. She said she always had an answer she used when she didn't think they were. She said, well, I'm interested in the conservation of energy. That's what she used to say. The conservation of energy. Well, she was a living example of it. I met her at 86, and I told you the day after she arrived, she's complaining she's not working. And she kept teaching. We even took her to London when she was 90. She flew to London and taught in London. So she was definitely, conservation of energy was something that she practiced and demonstrated. Did I work with everybody? Is there anybody left? No? Everybody what about online people? Are there any questions, any thoughts, any concerns, complaints? Lou's checking. If you want to put your hand up, just let Lou know. He'll tell me. Okay, well, I think that's great. We got through everybody who wanted to do something. Now I'm supposed to have a stirring last 5-minute speech, and I haven't got a clue. So I guess the thing is to summarize, what do you do now? You've heard a little bit about this. What do you do? Well, you do exactly what I suggested. So remember, I gave you the little formula. I said when you're thinking about postural movement system, the formula is first locate the joint. That's very important. So locate the AO joint, locate the cow joint, locate the arm joint, locate the hip joint, locate the flamenco joint. Just literally in space, where are they? So when you do that, you're building up a reliable image of what is actually there. And you'll never get the right image. You can never actually have the truth of what's there. But the more you practice, the more the truthful you are, the more you harmonize with the structure. So that's number one. The second thing is, what are you moving around that joint? What are you moving around that joint? What's the mass? What's the part? Because that's what you've got to think about. You don't actually think about the joint. You think about the thing you're moving around the joint. Right? I'm moving my whole head, tilting forward. I'm letting my whole head and neck come up, the cow joint. I'm thinking of the whole arm itself coming upwards and forwards at this joint. You can maybe be thinking about that even if you're listening. I'm thinking at the rib cage kind of comes a little forward at the flamenco joint. And finally, the hip joint, I'm coming forward, no matter what position you're in. So the thing is, if you're sitting on the bus and you're like this, and you're feeling really angry about something, or you're feeling upset or a bit depressed, and you think, oh, I wonder if Alexander could help me now. Well, do not do anything. Do not change your position. Don't try to go to become an Alexander droid. Stay exactly where you are, and start working with this body schema. Okay, I know my brain's probably up here and that's where my joint is. And I know that's meant to be going forward, so I'll just think about that. And then the cow joint is kind of, instead of dropping down, I'm looking up. And then here at my arm joints, I'm just thinking the whole arm is just kind of going a little upwards and forwards. And then probably, a little bit more of the flamenco, and I'm just going forward at the hips. You just think those things through, never spending too long on one. And then you kind of, oh, okay. That's how you can practice. Now, the third thing is, I knew my pedagogy expert over there, well, she asked me, you didn't say what third one was. So the first one is location. The second one is what are you moving around that joint? And the third one is, what direction is it moving in? Because it's always the same. As one of my teachers loved to say, only always. It's always moving the same way. That's remarkable when you think about it. That's really remarkable. There's a system inside you that's always moving you the same way. So those three things, if you remember those and practice those, that's all you have to do, because as Alexander would say, the meat, what is it? The experience makes the meat that it feeds upon. All right? So the experience, when you go through this body schema imaging and you think about these movements, it creates an experience. And that experience becomes meat, becomes fodder, becomes more interesting information that you can use to continue the experiment. So you're not repeating the same thing again and again. Every time you do it, you're modifying and changing and developing and getting deeper and more sophisticated. So the experience makes the meat it feeds upon. So you do those three things with these postural joints, with these movements, and you will get information. And I suggest doing it when you're still, and I suggest you do it while you're moving. And the best one to do is walking. The best one to do is walking, because usually your mind's wandering all over the place anyway. You're not really usually doing anything terribly constructive. So why not use that time walking as a kind of meditation to just think about how you're moving and what's happening. And I promise you, even though it seems crazy, if you just think these images without trying to make any change in your body, without trying to fix your body or move it, you just keep thinking these images, after about, 10 seconds, a minute, you'll just start to notice, just something starts to happen. You can't know why. You don't know how, but you do know it did. And that's the experience that makes the meat it feeds upon. So the most important thing to understand is to trust it, is to trust the discovery. Alexander made this discovery and it's worth trusting. In the same way, in the end, we trust Buddha made this amazing discovery, and in the end, ultimately, we have to trust it. But we trust it in the sense that we test it all the time. We don't buy it, but we trust it enough to be willing to give it a go. That's all I mean. Okay, well, that was not a bad rousing speech, was it? Well, thank you so much to everybody. I'm so grateful to you all. This is a treat for me. It's a real treat to be able to freely talk about Buddhism and Alexander and without ever thinking I'm being inappropriate or whatever. It's great. So I'm really happy. I'm so glad I could come, and thank you for inviting me to the center.
Thank you, Jeremy. We're so
Right.
happy that you came. And anybody that would like to give a donation for this great workshop, we have a donation box.
Yes.
And you
And
can,
it goes to the center. I don't take a penny.
It's-
Yeah, give it to the center. No, I'm not going to take anything. No.
Okay, but you can put something in there and say a prayer for Jeremy.
Yeah, okay. You can do a song. You can do a song for me. Yeah, that's right. That's right.